This is Joe Halanich, the assigner, commissioner, and rules interpreter for Cascade Officials Association, known as CASO. This presentation covers awarded bases. I want to start by noting, although this presentation covers many aspects of awarded bases, it's not complete and not every possible scenario or rule is covered. If you want to get a complete listing of all the rules, make sure you consult the National Federation of High Schools Rules Book. There are four types of base awards: situational or umpire judgment, one base, two bases, or three bases. Regardless of the number of bases that are awarded, all awarded bases must be run legally. In other words, if a girl is on first base and for whatever reason is awarded third base, she cannot walk directly across the ball diamond and go to third. She must touch second and touch third. If she goes across the ball diamond to third without touching second, it is an appeal opportunity for the defense to request that she be put out. Awarded bases are determined in one of three ways: at the time of the pitch and where the base runners are whenever that pitch occurs, at the time of the infraction, or when the ball leaves the hand and is thrown. Situational awards happen on a couple of different circumstances: spectator interference or the spectator touches the ball. The difference between the two could be there's a fly ball and a spectator reaches out and inhibits a player from catching it. That would be spectator interference. A different kind of situation could be a touched ball where a spectator may not have been properly put back behind the out of play line and have their feet in play and the ball touches them even though they didn't interfere with it. As those situations, the umpire would award the bases they believe the player would have gotten had the interference or the touch not occurred. In addition, there is an obstruction where the umpire will award the number of bases they believe the base runner would have gotten had she not been obstructed. This does not apply to catcher's obstruction, and we'll talk about catcher's obstruction in more detail in a few slides. And one thing to note, obstruction is the number of bases the umpire believes the player would have gotten. I personally have awarded a home run on an obstruction at first base. The young lady was playing first base as if she had an infield play when the ball was hit over the outfielder's head. This caused the batter runner to run up through the orange bag and circle around and took away the ability to touch the inside corner of first base. She finally made it home, but right about when she made it home, a step before there, the ball had arrived and she was tagged out. In my judgment, had she not had to take those extra 3 or 4 steps and go up the orange bag and around the bases, if she could have touched the inside corner, she would have made it home safely. And because of that, I awarded her home and a home run based on obstruction at first base. So obstruction is a judgment of the umpire as to how many bases they would get. One base awards. One base awards occur in several different circumstances. A pitch goes out of play or gets lodged in a fence or becomes blocked. Remember, a blocked ball is a ball that touches somebody or something that's not in the game. Ball could touch the on-deck batter. Ball could touch the shin guards of the catcher sitting in the on-deck circle. Any one of those makes the ball a blocked ball and it is a dead ball. The logic behind this is if the catcher doesn't have control of the ball, any runner on base could have probably advanced the base, but because the ball's dead, they cannot run. Therefore, you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and award them a base because the catcher did not have control of the ball and could not have made a play on him, but the ball's dead and they can't advance. So we'll give them the base considering that they probably would have gotten it. A fielder loses possession of the ball on a tag. What this means is, say for instance, the third baseman has her glove down and a player slides in, no malicious contact. She just makes contact with the glove and not the ball. And the ball flips out of the hands of the third baseman and rolls out the field to play through an opening in the fence. At that point, the runner is awarded the base from where she was at the time of the infraction. So if the ball goes out of play before she touches third base, she would only be awarded third base. If she gets up and stands on third base and then the ball rolls out of play, that's the time of the infraction and she would have been awarded home on that situation. A batter's hit by a pitch or it touches her clothing. As long as she's standing still completely in the box and the ball's completely in the box, she does not have to move. Or if she's trying to get out of the way from a wild pitch and she gets hit, she's awarded first base. There are a couple circumstances when she's hit and she's not awarded first base as a batter. You can see those different circumstances in our other video on batter in the box. A fielder carries a ball unintentionally out of play. This happens, for example, with a fielder catching a foul ball. She's running and her momentum carries her out of play. Anybody on base will get one base from the base they occupied whenever the ball went out of play. What happens here, and the logic behind it, is that you have a situation where the runners cannot advance because they have a dead ball. However, if the ball was live, you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they could have tagged and advanced onto tag. So because the ball's dead, you cannot advance, but you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and award them a base. A hit ball contacts a player on base. This is one of three situations where the player does not have to move. The first we talked about was the batter not having to move if she's completely in the box. This one is the player standing on the base. She gets hit with the ball while standing on the base. The ball's dead, and the batter is awarded first base. She does not have to move off the base because she puts herself in jeopardy. You got a pop up right over third base. If she moves, the third baseman catches it, steps on third, puts her out. So if there's a ball that's going to hit her on base, as long as she does not intentionally interfere, she does not have to move. A runner interferes with a defensive player or is contacted by a live ball. These are the classics. Second baseman's bent over, fielding the grounder, and the runner collides with her. The ball's dead, the runner's out on interference, and the batter's awarded first base. Similarly, if the runner's running and the ball hits her and it's not gone past any fielder other than the pitcher, the ball's dead, it's a form of interference, and the batter's awarded first base. Finally, you have catcher's obstruction. Catcher's obstruction is a little more complicated. If the ball's hit on catcher's obstruction and the runner reaches first base and every other player advances a base, then the catcher's obstruction is off. If the catcher's obstruction occurs and the batter's put out, or one of the runners does not advance a base, then the coach gets the choice of the play or the batter being awarded first base. So if the batter reached first and the one runner stayed on second, the other runner scored, the coach could have the choice of that play, or the coach could have the choice of the runner staying on second and third and the batter being awarded first base. Other runners on base don't advance unless they're forced to advance. So catcher's obstruction is a little different. If it happens and everybody advances a base, including the batter who gets the first, catcher's obstruction is off. If everybody doesn't advance a base or the batter doesn't reach first, then the coach gets the choice of the play, or the batter is awarded first base and other runners advance if they're required to advance on a force. Let's talk about two base awards. Two base awards occur on a thrown ball. The award is given on the time the throw leaves her hands and not the base she occupies when the ball either goes out of play, becomes blocked, or is touched. That's a little different than the infraction we discussed on a one ball award. This one is when the throw leaves her hands. It has to be that, so you make sure you understand the difference. It also occurs when the ball's touched by loose defensive equipment. The girl takes off her hat. She's not going to be able to catch it, and she takes off her hat to try to catch it, or she throws her glove in the air. The first baseman throws her glove in the air to keep the ball from going out of play. Everybody's going to be awarded two bases if that occurs. A fielder intentionally carries a ball into dead ball territory. I've not seen this happen in the years I've been coaching and umpiring. Apparently this has happened in old man slow pitch. A player will catch a ball, then watch and realize other players, offensive players, are advancing on bases and run out of play to try to stop it, make a dead ball and stop people from advancing. I've never seen this in a girls' fast pitch game, either as a coach or as an umpire, but the rule is there. A fair ball, of course, bounces over through, is lodged in a fence. That's the classic book rule double. Those are two bases from the base she occupied at the time of the pitch. Not when it goes out of play, not at the time of the infraction, but the base she occupied at the time of the pitch. So if she starts on first base, advances to second, and the ball goes out of play through the fence, she only goes to third base. She does not go to home. The one instance of three base awards in the Federation rulebook occurs when a ball is touched, a hit ball, batted ball, is touched by detached equipment. You got a ball going over a fielder's head. There's no fence. She knows it's going to be a home run if she doesn't catch it. She can't catch it, so she throws her glove in the air to stop the ball. When it's touched by that glove in the air, it's a dead ball, and the batter is awarded three bases. This concludes the presentation.